Lucy Hargreaves. We all know about Lucy. We all know about Lucy, don't we? We all know who's responsible. We all know what's what. But let's just hear what I wrote on it years ago. The Real Crime Real Time podcast will focus on the unsolved murder of Lucy Hargreaves, a young 22-year-old mum of three who was shot dead on August the 3rd, 2005. Lucy was shot whilst asleep on the couch under a duvet cover. The three killers burst into Lucy's home on Lambourne Road, looking for Lucy's boyfriend and father to her children, Gary Campbell. Gary Campbell was a joyrider, and whilst a teenager in a stolen car, he hit a young lad, killing him. His family sought revenge and years later burst into Lucy's home looking for Gary Campbell. When the killers kicked the door in, Gary was upstairs with the children asleep and Lucy was on the settee under a duvet. The killers shot Lucy thinking it was Campbell. They went on to set Lucy on fire along with the house. The killers, which is well known in the city of Liverpool, Kevin Parle, Kirk Bradley and Tony Downs. Tony Downs was the family of the young girl killed by Campbell in the car years before. Tony Downs and Kirk Bradley currently in prison serving life sentences with recommendations of 22 years before being considered for release, which they will never be. Both killers were convicted in the absence of conspiracy to possess firearms with intent to endanger life and conspiracy to cause damage with intent to endanger life. Downs and Bradley was due to attend court, but on one morning as they troubled court from prison, the prison bus they was on was hijacked, with security officers being forced by firearm to open Downs and Odin cells. They fled out the country to Holland, where they eventually got arrested and extradited back to the UK. The 20 years in prison they both received was for a 2-year violent campaign in which people were shot, houses bombed with grenades, and young lads kidnapped and tortured. Alongside Downs and Bradley, you had fugitive Kevin Parle. Parle wanted over the murder of Liam Kelly, who was shot dead at a young age whilst arguing with a lad called Anthony Campbell. Kevin Parle shot dead 16-year-old Liam Kelly over a £200 debt that was owed to Anthony Campbell. Liam was killed in the early hours on the 19th of June 2004 after an argument. Liam was shot twice at close range by a masked gunman carrying a double barrel shotgun. After the killing, 7 people were arrested in connection with the murder, including Parle. However, Parle failed to answer bail for the murder and was wanted for that when he went on to murder Lucy Hargreaves. Whilst Kevin Parle was wanted and on the run, his co-accused Bradley and Downs and others stood trial for Lucy's murder, but was acquitted of the charge due to the lack of evidence. A young man from the Croxteth area of Liverpool was arrested in connection with a car seen leaving the area and seen beforehand getting petrol. The car in question was a gold Lexus RX 300, registration number NAD 499. That car was found burnt out in Richard Kelly Drive in the Clubmoor area of Liverpool. The murder of this young mum is another prime example of our city being out of control. Rhys Jones, Liam Kelly, Lucy Hargreaves and many more are all prime examples of a city with lost love and control. Kevin Parle, understood to be still alive somewhere in the world, is a nasty rat who killed a child and went on to kill a young mum. He's a monster who needs brought to justice along with the other rat, Bradley and Downs. Lucy's family have the answers, but not the justice. Like other families of children murdered by killers, they know who their child's killers are, but can't do nothing but suffer at the hands of scum like them. The police can't solve any murder without the help from communities. We as leaders within communities need to scream and shout very loud to our children and their friends, our future, that stealing gang life is the worst thing you can become part of. Stay well away. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone, the boys. It's full of rats and dogs that always end up biting you on the arse. Another Liverpool lad shot dead on the 3rd of January 2011 whilst a passenger in the front seat of a silver Volvo. On the day of the murder, Edward was in an altercation with two men who was in a dark saloon car in Larkhill Close at around 1:30 p.m. The dark saloon car had rammed the silver Focus NH57 HKX that Edward was a front seat passenger of. Edward and his driver took a chase of the dark saloon car down Lark Lane towards Townsend Lane. Later on that day, Edward was involved in a drive-by shooting in the L5 Anfield area. He was the front seat passenger of a silver Volvo motor vehicle travelling down Utting Avenue when a black BMW drove by letting shots off at Edward's car. Edward suffered wounds to his arm and his abdominals and was rushed to hospital and died 6 days later. The black BMW was not stolen for the murder. It had been stolen 1 month before, on the 2nd of December in the Cheshire district. It had gone through a few hands that month before it ended up in the Anfield Larkhill. Before it ended up in Anfield Larkhill in the hands of the killers. When I say killers, I mean the gunman and anyone else who participated. The black BMW 7 Series registration number DX57UHU was being joyrided around the L5 area on the day and the day before the murder. The kids who had the car beforehand are known. The gunman now in custody for the Kinahans. The gunman now in custody for the Kinahans is well known. Everyone knows the full picture, including the 8 lads arrested and bailed with no further action. The BMW was later burnt out and found in Belfield Avenue in the West Derby area, not far from the gunman's relatives. It's been 20 years now since little Eddie was shot by someone he knew well, as did everyone else at the scene. Some of you threatened into silence, some not. 2 decades later, the bully locked off. You have sons and daughters. Times change. The violence won't if you keep acting like that. Put yourself in Eddie's family's shoes. It doesn't matter how he was behaving or whatever. A car full of dealers do not have the right to drive round in cars and kill 20-year-old men in the city of Liverpool. I'll say it again. You dealers have not got any right at all to take next man's life. That's God's work, and you will receive judgment. The family have suffered. Edward's mum passing away after a long battle for justice for her son. His father, sisters, nieces, nephews still pursue justice for Edward, and so should the city. Once one unsolved murder of a Liverpool-born lad under the age of 21 is solved, more will follow. The only people that can resolve this issue are the community leaders, not icons, but leaders. The people that love our city, not love the football team as if they love the city. The snowball's got to start somewhere, and it's starting here. So that was Eddie Pybus. This was wrote ages ago. I've just come across them in me amongst all my paperwork. But you know, it's been known for quite a long time around the city that, you know, a certain individual responsible for young Edward's murder. Now that individual's locked off for a very, 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 very long time, and everyone's grown up, matured. Some have got children now. Some have got families now. Others may have been shot dead. But the bottom line is, the man who pulled the trigger and killed Edward Pybus is now in custody. We all know he worked with the Kinahans cartel. We all know what he's about. He's now in custody. He's not a threat to anyone.